Krishna. So actually we're going to look at a specific community that actually worships Krishna. And Krishna is the god that plays flute, right? Okay. He's the god that actually has a consort, and her name is Radha, okay? And plus, he actually hangs out with gopis, which are what we call milkmaids or something like that, okay? We'll actually see this enacted, that's what oh my god, my favorite students. Okay, so we're going to look at Krishna. Oh my goodness, another one, okay. And we will actually look, as I said, at this community called the Vallabh Sampradaya. Now, Sampradaya just means sort of group, okay, community. So that's why we have different communities also. Now, what's interesting is that in the 15th century, there was a philosopher and founder, and his name is Vallabhacharya. Now this is a combination of Acharya just means a sort of a scholar, Vallabha Acharya. And what happens with all sorts of different communities in India is that some person, a philosopher, says, hey, wait a minute, I have a new idea, and I'm reinterpreting these texts in a new way, and that becomes the foundation for this new community. Now Vallabhacharya in the 15th century, he actually debated different texts and won debates, and he came up with this idea of, yeah, we'll just do the English, right? Pure non-dualism. Okay. And this affects, as we're going to see, religious practice and things like that, okay? That's what, so, what does non-dualism mean? Dual yani two. This world and that world. Okay. Pure non-dual matlab. This is it. We're going to play with God here. How do you feel about that? Okay? So therefore there's a whole group of practices. You call it liturgy in a way. Because you have actually music, with poetry. Let's see. Poetry. We have food. Oh my gosh, we know about food. And you want to make really good food every day, okay? And the most important thing is actually, you might play with your thing, and you have actually an image, okay? An image of Krishna, okay? And actually, with all Hindu images, that image, once it's enlivened, is alive, okay? It's like having a baby. You have to feed it, you have to put it to bed, you have to wake it up, you have to sing to it, all these sorts of things, okay? So you take care and you cook food for it, and that sort of thing. Okay, now the whole point of all of this is actually the whole movement that's called Bhakti, which is sort of participation in sort of the Lord's life, you can say something like that, okay? And we'll see examples of that. Okay, now some other concepts that you probably have already talked about in Hinduism is this idea of darshan. Darshan means to have actually a viewing session, okay? So you exchange gazes. And this is also where we get very elaborate setup actually for the god on display. Okay, what we'll also see is the darshan, or what are called pichwai. Which call that? That's actually a backdrop. How many? You're in film, right? You need a backdrop for your film. Okay, you need black backdrop for this activity, and that can be painted cloth. Okay, painted cloth. And as we know with narrative, that will give you some of the other people that you want in your narrative. So if you are Krishna, hey, I want Radha there, you know what I mean? I want those milkmaids that I frolic with. Oh my gosh, full moon night, are you kidding? What a great idea. Okay? So we see these in the paintings themselves. Now, what's also interesting in this community, and by the way, oh my gosh, I did research on this. You know that? For my dissertation in Rajasthan in India. That's what I'm going to share with you. And it's interesting, within this community in Hinduism, actually a painting can become enlivened, okay? That you take care of. And within the community, it's called Chitra. Seva means to take care of. So we'll see Chitra Seva. And you know what I mean? Can anyone read that? No.
You know how to write in the
Why not? No. This was fine. Okay, now Chitra Seva is unique in this community, and it's very similar to icons. And someone's talking about icons being enlivened too, paintings in Christianity.
Not the same thing, Goodman. Not the same thing.
I don't have the best resolution images I found out, which is a little shocking. But anyway, so I'll take you through. This is actually a painting that shows Vallabhacharya, and then, as I said, he begins a whole new community. This is actually a painting, again, that shows you, he actually discovered an image of Krishna, a stone image, that then he went to, and you see the stone image becomes live, okay, in terms of painting. And that image is the most important image for the community. It's called Srinathji, and it then migrated. We get the migration of these images to Rajasthan, where it is at Nathdwara. Okay, we'll talk about that later on. So this is the founder. Now, in terms of my research, I was in a place called Kota, K-O-T-A, where the ruler became part of the community, and there are actually two major images. There's a major image in the town, stone, we call it stone, Krishna, with 4 arms, Chaturbhuj, and actually looks like Vishnu, okay? And there's another image, because when you become a member of the community, like in Christianity, you're baptized. In this community, you're given an image, and then you have to take care of it, okay? So there's an image called Bridge Nathji, which is actually a small gold image. One hand up so you can play his flute, and another hand for maybe some food. And that image was the ruler's personal image. Now, what you have to do in this community is you give everything to the image. So then, Vishnu became the ruler of Kota, and this is a whole other sort of narrative where you have to bring the image out, and he actually is in court, and for festivals especially. His temple is right over here, okay? And then this is Zoka. So this is where I was doing my research. We'll actually look at paintings up here in this big hall, where in fact the image would be taken for rest and relaxation, and there are actually whole wall painting programs that relate to the history of that image in Kota itself. Okay? So this is where we're going.
So they believe so much in images, like in pictures, images and stuff like that. They believe in images?
Well, I'll show you in this community actually a painting, but you can have a metal image to take care of, or a painting and even a print. Okay, and when I did my research, it's more anthropological, because I'd actually cycle here for the early morning darshan, and they're singing here, and I'll go down to this city and see the early morning darshan, and then come back for the treaty and all this sort of stuff. Okay, so that's sort of an anthropological approach to art history and culture. Okay, inside the Vallabha Hall, the big hall, we have wall paintings. Here, it shows the 4-armed image of Vishnu, which is the image in this town, which actually the merchants also support. And here we have Kishore Senji, one of the Maharajs, and then his son. So you can see they're worshipping. And you see the priest is always up here, because this is sacred, purified territory, right? He's doing the actual service. So here we have Madresh Ji. And also in terms of manuscripts, we see produced at the court, we have the stories of Krishna in the Bhagavad Puran. And here we have some of the text, and sometimes there's some added commentary. I know it's a little fuzzy. This actually shows that full moon night in the autumn, okay? When Krishna comes, and here are all these gopis, okay? And what's interesting is, when I was looking at these, hey, someone's outside the frame, but he's worshiping what's going on. Okay, it's hard to see him. Here he is, okay? So this is one of the Maharajs. So even in the paintings, you see their approach to worship, and that they want to become part of this sort of also the dance, the Ras dance in the autumn. This is just one of the festivals. Now, hard to see again. This is actually the room that I showed you on the beginning, at the top, Mahal, the big hall. And you can see that there's wall paintings. There are actually paintings that are then actually on paper that are then applied to the wall. Actually, this is the one we were looking at before. You know, the worshipping of Maharishi. And we'll actually look at this painting again. So these, it turns out, actually all relate to the history of the worship of images at Kota. Okay, so there's a whole wall painting program.
Justin,
Yeah.
is there a reason why they use a lot of yellow?
You see a lot of yellow? I
Like
don't know.
in the images before?
I don't really think of that, but there is. Well, that's actually sort of gold.
Like,
Yeah,
It's
but
gold,
I don't
gold.
know whether there's reason for the yellow, but there is actually very interesting yellow, which is sort of orange yellow, that is called Indian yellow, and yeah, it was gotten by giving cows mango leaves, and then anyway, it caused some intestinal problems. But there is a particular yellow in Indian painting, but that's a whole other story. Okay. Now, another wall painting program actually shows the ruler going to get his image of Krishna, okay, and then bringing it to Kota. Now, this is bridge Nathji, which is to us a metal image that big, okay. But in the wall painting, you see, he's shown life size. Okay, so you have to think of him as alive at your size too. Okay, so here then another wall painting that shows you the Maharao. Again, like we saw with that manuscript, Maharao. He's actually, outside here, he's actually worshipping his image, which is Brihnaji, actually shown gold, one hand up with flute, and the other hand for some food, right, okay? Now you see here, again, it's that full moon night. You see the full moon night? And there are actually gopis there. And this actually, also later on I realized, is actually a sort of death portrait. Because when you die, the idea is that then you go and join that dance. Okay, so this is actually showing him join the Ras dance, the dance with the gopis. Which also is interesting, because in this community, the ideal subject position is not a man, it's a woman, okay? Because ideally, you know, you want to be able to frolic with Krishna, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so actually there is also a traditional sort of cross-dressing too. Okay, that's what it is. Now, at the temple, in the palace, here we see actually a homology, in other words, equivalence, okay? So here it's hard to see. This is little Brihnaji, gold, okay? With his little flute and all that sort of stuff. Okay, now behind him is actually a painting, you see? So that's equivalent to this. And this shows him, you know, on the wall painting. Okay, so then actually we'll see that these paintings also then they worship. Here he's being brought out for another festival called Annakut, where in fact there's food, all sorts of different varieties of food, and Annakut, a mountain of rice that is placed in front of the image. So he's actually brought out for public darshan or display. Yeah. Okay, now just going back in terms of this idea of a painting. This is sort of research that I added to the flute and say. Here we have paintings of Vishnu, okay, with 4 arms, and a conch shell, a chakra, a gada, a mace, and the Padma lotus. And actually this is from another place, but you can see that this painting is frontal. It might have been used in worship, okay? Now that got me thinking. And then also I found other paintings. This is actually from Kota, which is actually a Ragmala painting that refers to reasonable. But you see what I see? Oh my gosh! She's worshipping a painting, right? Okay. So this becomes what we might call a meta painting. It tells us how a painting, you know this, right? How a painting that comments on how paintings are used. That's pretty amazing. And he looks like Krishna, because Krishna is usually blue, okay? And she's making food for her.
So meta painting is like what?
It's a painting that comments on how paintings are used, you know, like Velázquez and things like that, right? Okay.
It's like painting. Okay.
It's a commentary on how paintings, okay? Okay, actually another one, from another painting right somewhere, again here, you know, a woman is longing for her lover, and here Krishna is a painting also. So that also got me thinking, and voila, okay? So when I was doing my research, there's a temple in the women's section, in Sanana. Other kings, the Mughal kings kept the same sort of division. And there's a pujarini, a woman priest, very rare. And what is she doing? She's taking care of a painting, you see? The painting, they have little beds, painting's gone to sleep. You know, she's washed him off. Now she's dressing him. And she also has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, all sorts of other Thakurjis or lords, other paintings. And you know what she's doing? She's taking care of previous queens, lords, okay? And also feeding them. So that was also, this also sort of discovery in terms of the use of paintings and what got me to think about actually doing this article on Chitra Seva, sort of worship of paintings. Also at the main, the temple in the town for Matharesh, the large stone image, we have, here it is, Matharesh Ji Ke Chitra, okay, have come. And you can buy one for 10 rupees. Actually, it's a print. So here, this is actually a painting. But you can actually buy prints at the main temple to take home, to take care of. Okay. And then actually, for Diwali, remember Diwali, we have lights, and this New Year, etc., etc. Actually, there is a community of painters still in Kota. And what happens at Diwali, you have two paintings. One will be of Krishna, the other of Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth that you want to worship.
Goddess of what?
Wealth.
Lakshmi. We do it here in Gurdwara too. So here again, instead of an image, it's a painting. So there's what we call maybe a picture turn. In other words, paintings are allowed to have agency. We'll see this even for other rituals, so they can do things. Okay, so I followed my friends around, and also another friend from the royal family, well not the royal family, but his family worked for the royal family. Here he is in the morning, every morning. What's he doing? He's making a necklace of fresh flowers from his garden. It's part of seva, taking care of your image. And just one thing. And then here is his altar, okay? So here he has a painting of Srinathji, the main Krishna image. He has a painting just of Radha Krishna, and then also a photograph of one of his gurus, so he sort of combined them all. And it's using, the whole point is using paintings and prints.
So there are no specific ways of how to take care of the photo. It's just that how you feel.
Well, I mean, if it's that temple, you have to put it to sleep for a while, and then wake it up and sing to it and all that sort of stuff, and then feed it. Actually, in the Hindu temples, you feed gods, and then you are fed the leftovers. It's called prasad.
What does it do?
Huh?
What do they eat?
Well, in the Bharat Sampradaya, it's very developed. So, you know, actually Krishna is also thought to be a young person, so you don't want it too spicy, okay? And then there are all these delicacies that are made for your deity, and then you share it afterwards.
So you just like leave it next to the painting and go away?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some sort of, you know...
No, feeding
Feeding.
also.
They eat the leftovers, but they don't actually eat like it's
There's no actually leftovers.
Yeah, that's
There's leftovers, there's plenty of leftovers there. Well, because, you know, God isn't so hungry, you know? So...
But how do they?
Well, then you take it from the priest and it's distributed. And if you go to someone's house and they keep an image, actually the food is very elaborate. It's very elaborate. Okay, fine, question.
What they want to ask
I don't get it, like you're saying that they feed the gods and everything, and then they eat the leftovers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do the gods eat? They're paintings, right?
Oh, I know, but you know, you just have to...
Pretend.
Wallah, or you know, yeah, you have to believe in it.
Believe in.
Question in the back, yeah.
Just one bite, right?
Yeah, it's just one bite, because in this community, also I was very lucky, because all the descendants of Vallabhacharya who actually run temples, they're also considered Krishna, okay? And actually I learned singing from one of these priests. And when he came to Chicago, oh my God, you know, the community goes, oh, fantastic. Oh my, we had to make the best ice cream. Oh my, quick. And then sure enough, you know, and he ate it, you know, one tablespoon out, and then give it a taste. And oh my God, the food he cooked for his image and he carried with him, amazing. Yeah.
Oh my God, they spend time and effort.
Much time and much effort for everything. You can take your whole life.
So doesn't he worry about doesn't he worry that if you give food to the image, it will spill on the image, or like something will happen to the painting?
Well, these are actually with glass, so yeah, there isn't spoilage and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But people are careful.
So what would happen if the painting got ruined or to your point?
Oh, that's a good question, because actually in icons, people see that things are, used and kissed, and some of the paintings.
Yes, they deteriorate.
But somehow, these days are behind glass, and people take care of it. So I haven't seen sort of spoilage of the painting, that sort of thing. That's a great question.
I have a question.
Sure.
You said that they worship images as paintings of
As
the
gods.
gods.
Yeah.
Who is allowed or who is authorized to do these paintings? Because when you were just talking, I was just thinking that I lived in that culture,
Yeah.
I would want, for example, my kids to learn about that.
Right.
Are they allowed to actually draw the god? Since once they draw it, they're worshipping the paper, or as in it's a god. So do they actually teach them to
Actually,
draw the god?
kids, I haven't seen to draw this stuff, but it's a wonderful question. In fact, the largest community of continuing painters in miniature painting tradition is at the pilgrimage town in Nathdwara, okay? And I'll show you a picture, where there are families that continue to make miniature paintings that then can be used, okay? Now there is a process of enlivening it, and I've seen it also with Princess Woodman. So he actually looks at it, and somehow there's some eye thing, but then he takes prasad from the other image and gives it to the new one. So that's what initiates it. So it's not like any painted image can be, used unless it's given the proper food to begin with, and somehow blessed, somehow like that. And actually, it's really interesting, amazing question, because also in the community there were painters from Nathdwara who then actually took they actually measured the actual image, which is pretty large, okay, and then made a one-to-one, okay, and they had it official stamp. And then that actually, in major temples, becomes a chitraji, a larger. In fact, the first major temple in North America has this life-size painting of it. Yeah. So sometimes there is an official, especially for the life-size. For the other ones, not so much, but there should have to be someone who sort of gives it the eye.
It's like a process.
A process, yeah. Okay, then actually, just to show you, there's some other paintings that verified for me that it's sort of ritual use of paintings. This is in Nathdwara itself, where there's a festival of cows. Cows are very important to Krishna. The cows come out of view. We'll get closer too. And here we have the head priest, and what is he doing? He's actually coming to worship a painting. Oh, look, and this is at the Nathdwara, the main pilgrimage center. So you can't take Nathdwara himself. He's way too big. So they've taken a painting to where the cows are kept. For the festival.
So do they have public processions also using the paintings?
Actually, it's a little different than other traditions in terms of Hinduism, where you have an image that becomes the festival image that you process around. You'll see, because at Kota there are images that are given agency that are used to kill Radha and things like that. But the chitraji I've never seen actually processed around. But again, I don't know, when you see the one where Nathdwara is brought out, whether there might have been a procession, but it's not quite like in South India where you have days and they go around the city.
Yeah, because in Christian iconography also there are processions, public processions using the images here.
Yeah, pulling the cart.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so not quite like that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's either in the temple, for rituals in the temple, or back home.
Back home, yeah. And though, it's interesting the history of the circulation or the economy of images in this community, because this is when the Mughals were in power. Now, in Akbar's court, there were some Hindu wives, and that's some of the first recorded uses of paintings within the palace. But then later on, especially with Aurangzeb, he was not for this sort of thing. So the images actually had to leave and migrate and put on carts, and there was maybe a procession away, and then they ended up mostly in the kingdoms where they were protected. Yeah, but it's not a festival in that sense.
Okay.
But there are, I'm going back and forth, there are convocations of the 7 major images that also happened in 1822, where they're actually brought together at Nathdwara. So when the image like goes from Kota, the big stone one, because there are the 7 major images, Sat Swarup, then there probably would have been some sort of procession.
Okay.
Okay, here we are in Nathdwara. So as I said, about 300 families, you get all sorts of things made. also the frames, and even brass images if you like, to worship your own. Now I'm going to talk about this sort of picture term that happens at Kota. As I said before, for Diwali, here we have a painting of Lakshmi and also Srinathji put together. Here's the Bengaluru dressing. Here also, this is actually the temple we saw inside in the women's section. So there again, there are two paintings. But what is really interesting is that there's also the festival of Dasera, when in fact Ram comes back, and also the armies that kill, the 10-headed demon Ravana, and it's enacted with a huge effigy that's burnt, etc. Now in Kota, what happens is that there is actually on the last day of the Dasera, there's the Shastra Puja. You worship your weapons, and then a bow and an arrow is actually given to a painting of the Mahara. Okay? So then a painting that's not Krishna gets agency. And then, look what happens. So here's the worshipping of Srinathji on this last day of Dasera. You worship weapons for rulers. Here are the weapons. They're actually little miniature weapons for the painting of Srinathji. Okay? Now what happens next is, here we get paintings and the bow and arrow, and they're taken out to shoot Radha. Okay? So we have other paintings that are given agency. Also, when I went to Braj in the United States, where there's a temple for community and they have life-size drawing, size of painting of Srinathji. There you can get, you see, a print of Srinathji, and here you are. Here's the facade left over that then you want to feed your image to enliven it. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can they put the image on the floor like that?
Oh, I think we're supposed to take care of it, so that's haram.
Yeah.
Not really, but they don't have the concept of blasphemy in Hinduism, do they?
Well, that's true too, but there's cleanliness and all that sort of thing. If it's a clean floor, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's up to you as how you feel you can take care of it.
Yeah, your coverage. So, but I should have thought about that this week.
What's the mantra? Is it the mantra? I don't know what's called, like the gurus, what are they called?
Well, here actually the acharyas are those saintjis are different words for the priests. And the major priests, they all are given, ideally the major images, they have temples, they take care of them, they're considered live versions of Krishna. Okay, now the other, and actually here, this is interesting because in Delhi for, I think they share two, we have a shrine, and instead of an image, it's just paintings. And this is actually the use of popular prints has expanded throughout. And in fact, the first printers of popular prints were from the community, by the way. Yeah. Okay, now I'm just going to talk about another aspect in terms of the backdrops, the pitchwai within the temple. So here we have a pitchwai. This actually incorporates, this is a painting of the stone image of Srinathji. These are actually also kirtaniyas, the people who sing poetry. There's a whole repertoire of poetry. And this is interesting, again, a sort of meta painting, because in a painting, it shows husband, wife, and son.
Are they patrons or it's just normal people praying or worshiping?
For this painting? Or
Yeah.
Well, here they would have paid for this painting that shows them in front of a pitchwai, which has been aged. You see that? Now, maybe they did pay for that. They actually do actual worship.
Professor, remember the Holy Trinity?
Yeah.
It looks exactly like
No, I
this.
know what you mean. Yeah.
Different meanings,
Massage,
of course.
yeah.
Massage, yeah, but it's somehow, I don't know, the
I'm so happy you remember these things.
Yeah, I remember.
But it's similar to that,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, it's similar to that. Okay. But yeah, it's similar to that. Yeah. Actually, we see portraits of priests too. Yeah. And then this is a very rare painting. Again, a sort of meta painting because it actually shows you at the temple at Nandwar. This is actually the actual image. Okay. And actually, it's very large. And here we have the pitchwai. So the pitchwai supplies the gopis. You see that? So it supplies the images for Srinathji. And actually, it's very interesting because in a commentary of Vallabhacharya, he talks about being sort of absorbed in becoming a gopi within a painting. So it means that there was a tradition very early on in terms of using paintings to create the narrative that is being enacted. This is at Mathureshji. She was very lucky there because they allowed me to take pictures after the image was gone, okay? So the stone image would be here, and then Krishna becomes one of the multiple Krishnas that are dancing. You see that? On the full moon night. Yeah, and here they also are in 3D. So similarly more of this. And then this is actually this picture that shows the sort of round dance where Krishna multiplies himself so he can be with every gopi, okay? Full moon. And then we have here at one of the events in Paris, you see even women sort of pretending as if they're dancing. Okay, now I have a little music too. And here, maybe get the, this is a small image that is special image. This actually shows you, there's a picture that within the painting, it shows the stone image. It shows the picture, and then it actually shows you actually what you do for different festivals all the way around. It's a bit of a narrative now. Okay, what I wanted to do was actually also play you a little bit of the music, because in terms of North Indian music traditions, this clearly keeps different modes called rags, and that's a whole other course, right? Yeah. They're ones that keep it. So the early morning rag is mid morning, midday, whatever. Also for seasons, rainy season, rainy season.
Allah.
What?
This guy.
Oh, well, Nusrat, this is very interesting because
Yeah.
the person the priest that I knew, is a very good musician. Now in this community, there is no problem with Islam. Wallah. One of the poets, Rasa Khan, yeah, and he actually writes poetry, and actually he fell in love with Krishna, man to man sort of thing, okay? And then also my teacher, he knows Arabic and Persian, and he can sing Tarana with Allah, and not a problem for him. Yeah. Okay, so I will, but also let me just, the instruments, there's Makawaj, which is double-headed, which again is the old type of drupa before tabla was, okay? And the chant, which are cymbals. And then they're singing poetry from the Ashta-Chap, the 8 major poets that wrote the liturgy for all of this. So it's very dense with poetry, the food, and all this. Let's see whether I can, yeah. Okay, here we go. Just a little taste. Haveli is the word for the temple, which means just your home. Okay.
The drone.
So double-headed